I didn't expect winter in Japan to come with a big discovery, but today I found something that Japan invented that just blew my mind. It's clever, it's totally unique, and it's one of those only in Japan inventions that makes everyday life feel a little bit warmer. And the best part, I had no idea this even existed until now. Come with me as I go on a little adventure to find it and wait till you see what this thing can actually do. I've never been this excited about staying warm in winter. The last few weeks I've been nervously, anxiously awaiting a postcard arriving in my mailbox for my new visa renewal. I've been busy with my workplace, putting in my new workplace visa renewal forms. There was so much paperwork, and honestly, I'm so grateful to my workplace for all of the information they had to put together in order for me to file for a renewal of my visa. But the good news is the postcard came in the mail, and I needed to bring in the postcard and the special stamp, which is worth 6,000 yen, and that's the current cost of renewing your visa. I heard that is going to go up next year. We have an immigration bureau here in Wakayama, so I didn't need to travel very far, but it is at the port, which is about a 20-minute drive away from where I live. And very happy to find out that my visa was approved, and I'll be here in Japan for the next few years at least, and we'll decide what happens after that. I was checking my passport though, because I thought there'd be something in my passport, but there isn't. You just get a new Zairyu card, which is a new residence card. Even though I had all my paperwork in order, I was still a little bit nervous to find out the result of the visa renewal application, but luckily all was fine. Now, in my last video, you saw I was hanging the futons out to dry outside, and a subscriber to the channel said, "Why are you still doing that?" A lot of Japanese people buy this thing called a futon dryer, and I had never actually heard of it. It's called a futon kansoki. And this is brand new to me. So I did a bit of Googling and research into what these things are. And I found out they actually do all sorts of things. They can even dry your clothes. They can kill dust mites. And in winter, they can warm your futon. And in summer, they can dry it out and get rid of all of the humidity. You can use it on a futon or a mattress. You can use it on blankets and clothes. I just never actually heard of such an invention. I went down an absolute rabbit hole of all of the different uses that you can have for a futon dryer, including just hanging your clothes up and drying them in a bag. What a brilliant idea. Now, the one I wanted needed to be turbo to do all of the things. That's what I got from all the reviews online. But the turbo ones were actually quite expensive. So I caught up with Noriko for coffee. We're going out to celebrate my visa, and she bought me a cute little gift, as she always does. And we thought we might go and have a coffee and do a little bit of shopping together. And she was going to help me on this hunt to find the best futon dryer that we could find.
Yeah, that's a nice spot. But Yaichi, that place gets packed. Do you ever go
A lot of the coffee shops in Japan offer a morning service, which means you get a free sort of small breakfast with your coffee. So the coffee is 550 yen, and then you can choose all different types of toast. Noriko got the potato salad on toast, and I got the pizza on toast. We had a great catch up, and I told Noriko I'd visited lots of stores already and all of the prices were a little bit high. There's the castle in the background, by the way. That's Wakayama Castle. It's a gorgeous day. Anyway, we decided to go to a second-hand store because the new prices were just a little bit too expensive for me with Christmas coming up. And I thought we'll just pop in and see, in the off chance they have a turbo futon dryer here. You never know your luck. And there on the shelf was sitting one turbo dryer. It was only 6,900 yen. Now, the cost of the new ones were up to 220,000 yen. So it's really way less than half price of a brand new one. And it had all of the features that I was looking for, including that turbo function. Just means I can use it for a lot more other things. I also happened to find an oil heater, and I wanted this just to put up in the boys' room or the guest bedroom just because it's so cold upstairs. And once again, it was only 2,900 yen, and there's no flame or fire involved. So I think this would be a great little option to put up in the rooms upstairs while I've got my kids staying for Christmas. It really does pay to check out the second-hand stores when you're looking for something like this. I just can't believe my luck. It was literally brand new and the model that I wanted. So I think Noriko was my lucky charm. But I'm going to give it a go. I've gotten the futons out of the cupboard. I haven't been using these for a whole year since the last time I had guests for Christmas. So I think these futons need a bit of drying out, a bit of fluffing up. I have had some of them out on the balcony. And of course, Millie is doing the laps around me. She circles me like a shark when she's not sure what I'm doing, just to gauge the scene. This is the strangest looking contraption. It's like something from outer space. I feel like it's from the movie Lost in Space, and these are hands from a robot. But it is so cool, so let's give it a go. Once I figured out how to plug it in and turn it on, it was pretty self-explanatory. You just hit the mode button and you got options like summer futon, warm the bed, winter futons, killing mites, and a turbo function which just allows you to do all of those things a lot faster. So Japan actually invented this futon dryer, probably because of their long history and tradition of sleeping on futons, and also because there is so much humidity here. In summer, it's the rainy season, and in winter, things just struggle to dry. And you get problems like mold and dust mites really fast, so you've got to stay on top of it. And Japanese companies just started to look for a solution that would keep the bedding fresh without having to rely on the perfect weather all the time. And that's where this modern futon dryer came from. I'm totally amazed at how it's fluffed up this futon and brought it back to life again. It's going to be beautiful to sleep on these futons now. They're all soft and fluffy and puffy again. While it's the weekend, I also need to go and fill up my kerosene supply, so I've got kerosene in the garage for my heater. 支払い方法を選んでください。カードを選んでください。内容がよろしければ確認ボタンを押して給油キャップを開け青色のノズルで給油 I use the kerosene heater on really cold days. I do have an air conditioner, but when it's really cold, it just doesn't work the same. Now, I do have a carbon dioxide monitor that I use to monitor the air inside the room. And when the alarm goes off, it's time to open up all the doors and windows, change the air out, and then close them again. So it's a little bit more difficult than just turning on the AC. But when it's really cold, honestly, nothing heats the house like a kerosene heater. And it's so cheap, 101 yen for a litre. Now, I also need to do my grocery shopping, and living in Wakayama means we have an abundance of fresh mikan, which is the mandarins. It's absolutely beautifully sweet here. And we also have lots of fruit and veggies because lots is grown actually here in Wakayama. So I'm thinking to do some baked vegetables for my meal prep for this week moving forward. I'm being really productive this weekend, and I also washed all of the flannel sheets that were in storage, and I've been doing all of that while I was out and about getting the petrol, so now it's time to hang them out on the line. We've been really lucky with these cool autumn days. The sun has been out and shining, so everything is getting nice and dry on the line. I know when winter hits, quite often these days are few and far between. So I'm going to be using probably the futon dryer and a bag and give that a go and see how it works. But while the sun's out, I'm just going to get as much done as I can. I'll be busy during the week, so it's better I get the kerosene heater out now before it gets cold. I'm just going to fill up the tank, which has been stored empty in the garage. And again, Japan has this fantastic invention. I don't know if they have this where you're from. Maybe they have it in Australia too. I've just never seen it before. It's an electric pump to pump the kerosene into the tank. Really convenient. Has an auto shut-off valve, so when the kerosene reaches the top, it just shuts itself off. Really convenient. When I was looking at the calendar, I realized there's only a couple of weekends left until Christmas. So I thought I really have to be super productive this weekend because I'll be working right up until Christmas. So I said to myself, if the sun comes out, I'm just going to keep going and get as much done as I can. When it's cold like this, I tend to want to just sit around and do nothing. Some days I just feel so motivated, and then other days I blink and the whole afternoon has just disappeared. It is also nice just to take things slow and enjoy it when it's sunny. But let's see how much I can actually get done this weekend. My next mission was to actually do some meal prep. So I grow some rosemary out the back of the house, and I grow this specifically to do my baked veggies. I love a bit of garlic, rosemary, and butter flavor on my baked veg. Meal prep has been really helpful for my weight loss journey because I'm actually able to better control my portions and make sure that I have healthy food. So when I cook up a big meal like this on the weekend, I divvy it up into 4 or 5 different plates. And I'm also very conscious of monitoring that I've got good nutrition. So I've got some protein and some vegetables. And that's probably the focus of my meal prepping. I've always cooked my baked veggies like this. It's a technique I think I saw it on Jamie Oliver once. And all you do is you parboil all of the hard vegetables. So I'm going to add the pumpkin in a little bit later because it gets too soft. But you parboil all of the veggies and then you give them a quick fry in garlic and oil and then you roast them in the oven. So they're cooked 3 times basically. But if you parboil them, it just makes them really crispy when you end up eventually baking them in the oven. And I don't cook the broccoli. I put it in my meal prep bowls raw because when you microwave your food to reheat it, the broccoli cooks then, so you don't actually need to cook it. While I'm cooking up the veggies, I just marinate the chicken in a bit of the garlic, olive oil, and rosemary, and a bit of Himalayan sea salt. And I just let that sit for a while. Because most of my working hours are in the evening, I get home around between 7 and 9. And I'm usually quite hungry then, and the last thing I feel like doing is cooking a meal. So having these meals in the fridge ready to go just stops me from snacking or eating something that I shouldn't do. So it's a really good way to control your eating. Well, I found for me it's a really good way to monitor my portion size. Last week I did a big batch of Mexican mince, but inside that mince I put a lot of things like cauliflower and eggplant and capsicum and lots of different veggies, and I just had that in the fridge in a couple of different containers. So I just find having some protein and veggies already ready in the fridge is really useful when you're working full time. Now with these baked veggies, I'm going to need some kind of sauce or gravy to pour over the top of them. So I'm just mixing in some flour and some consomme, which is vegetable stock, and this tiny little container of cream, the perfect size. If you only need a drop of cream, I love that you can buy things so small here. And just like that, in 30 minutes, the baked veg and baked chicken is done. And now I just need to divvy it up into 4 equal portion sizes. And I'm going to have one of them now, and the other ones are going in the fridge, and that'll keep me going for the next 3 days. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's meals sorted. I just need to think what to do for Thursday, Friday now. I add that sauce. It's a little bit runny because it thickens up in the fridge. So I add a bit of a runny version of the sauce into these items, throw them into the fridge for the next few days. And the one I'm going to eat now, I've just thickened the sauce up a little bit more on the stovetop. And this is basically a very early dinner because I didn't have lunch today. I've been too busy running around. Now, while I was in the bath, I thought I would just throw the futon dryer upstairs and warm my bed so that I could give it a go and see what it was like to hop in a nice fluffy warm bed myself. And I thought, hang on a minute, I should also do that to little Millie's bed as well. So I stuck the futon nozzle into her little cat bed. And it's probably good if there are any mites, not that I've seen any, but if there are any mites floating around, this will be good to kill them and just freshen up her little bed area as well. Well, it's been a massive weekend and I feel like I was pretty productive. And I must say, this futon feels so dreamy. What did you think of the futon dryer? What an interesting invention. I wonder if there's anything like this where you come from. And Millie was a little bit sus about her bed, but it didn't take long and she was in there and she didn't budge all night. Thank you so much for joining us this weekend, and I really look forward to seeing you again next weekend. Thanks so much for watching. See you later. Bye.